Go ahead and call the meeting to order.
That was a little loud.
Guys, the budget meeting's gonna be real short tonight. Just got a few things we wanna kinda go over. We do have, a couple of things we need to talk about. One, of course, is the budget. Actually, you got those sheets? Did you make
I
copies
do.
of those sheets?
Yes, I
Send those
did.
out.
Maybe made them color so we can see. the
Yeah,
red.
yeah.
I like that red, yeah.
The color may be
Says
pretty,
they
but
like
we really
Yeah.
like
The color is
red.
red, but I don't like the red,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
like the
bull.
color though.
Charging, charging the bull.
We need black, you see.
I like that.
Black, right?
Black.
As all of you know, I sent out a letter, here at the end of last month, to all the department heads, also all the JPs, just explaining a little bit on the budget, how we need to watch our budget, extremely close. The whole idea behind that is, one, is to be transparent to the budget, also to have everybody on the same page on the budget. For those of us that were here last year and went through that budget process of having to cut $700,000, it was very painstaking, but it's come down to where there's, the fat is cut. There's only thing now is personnel. So that's what we don't want to do, and I just wanted to let the department heads know to watch your budget very, very closely, because they're new. We have a whole new government pretty much, so want to make sure they do that. The idea coming into this was, we did have some discussion on, at the Corn Court meeting with the treasurer's position, full-time position there. We voted to table that until the budget meeting could come together and talk about that a little bit. And that brings us to this. And Dale probably have to help me with this a little bit, because he kind of helped write this up. As you know, at the first of the year in County General, we had a $1.2,311,000 budget. That was our County General budget, okay?
Well, actually, that was the fund balance.
The fund balance, okay? In 2018, that fund balance was $1.6 million, 38,414. That was in 2018, okay? That was as of January the 1st, 2019. As it is today, the fund balance is $484,275, okay? And we're just starting the 5th month. That's 3 to 4 months. That is spending average $179,000 a month.
Well, that is a decrease of $179,000 per month, because you have a whole bunch of outs, you have a whole bunch of ins, but that's what it's washing out, that's what it's shaking out to, is a decrease of
But
$179,000.
the whole difference is here, is the fund balance is $484,000. We're not even in the 5th month, we're just barely into the 5th month of the year. Okay? Of course, we know there were some large expenditures with some of the agencies through County General, but the revenue's not coming in basically as fast as it's going out on that. And I'm gonna let you go over some of those other figures, Dale, the way you've got them.
Well, you did a very good job of covering it. We are, if you combine the reserve with it, because that is a pool we may very well need, we are down $444,000 over this time last year. I have never been, well, in the last few years, I haven't been this concerned over our county general account balance. We did reduce our budget, but the revenues aren't coming in behind our expenses. It's just a matter of ins and outs. And I don't know what to tell y'all.
I looked at, cause I was looking at, trying to prepare, and it scared me, cause we lost $400,000 last year. It looked like May, June, November, and December is when the most revenue comes in. So do you think that this will follow? I know that won't fix, I'm not
Yes,
saying it's gonna
yes.
fix it.
May has, that's when our delinquents
Okay.
get thrown in. So we will see, and I've got with Laura, we may see 125, 130,000 in additional revenue this month with those delinquents. That, add that to your amount, and then start your trajectory again. That, we're going to get to around September, October, and we're going to be bumping bottom. We did that a few years ago, and it was let the bills pile up on the desk and pay them as we can type thing until the taxes get paid and the money comes in. And we made it happen, but I can see that happening again.
Is there any chance of, I mean, I know that the legal system takes forever. Is there any chance of a settlement with Southwestern before the bottom?
I got a call last week from Eddie Morgan, and Swin is wanting to sit down and maybe settle. We don't need to jump too hard, too fast,
I agree.
I agree.
because this is going to affect us from now to perpetuity.
No, I agree.
Because my understanding is that Flywheel, however the lawsuit plays out, that's
Yes,
what
Flywheel will abide by.
Flywheel's gonna
Okay, so
buy.
they're not just gonna pay, cause I thought, okay, they're gonna.
They're wanting to sit down and discuss. You know, there are some things that we haven't even brought up, like on the county road side. They went through and really helped out the property owners when the shell play was in full bloom, and they built all these ponds to use water for fracking. Well, now every one of those ponds have a spill, and when you collect rainwater in that massive pond and it spills out this little area, what happens to our road? Where we used to get by just fine with a low water crossing, we now need $1 million bridge. And we've got about 30 of those areas in our county. We've got one road, we have tried everything and it still washes out. That's Long Lane. There is nothing we can do to fix that freaking road other than it's gonna take.
It filled the reserve pond,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's what those are reserve ponds from the gas company.
Yeah. So, anyway,
And legally,
They-
there's nothing that says that they have to fill them.
they've already sold out, they've
Or
already
reclaim.
left. They need to pay up because we are still incurring monetary, I don't want to say damage, but I guess it is.
Well, it's neglect.
We're still paying for that, so.
Well, and not only that, but when we passed this budget for 2019 out of 2018, that was with using part of the reserve. And we all said pretty much that we're not gonna spend any money until that reserve is paid back, in there. That's not been done yet. And, we just, the whole idea here is just to put everybody on the same table. Everybody needs to understand, we're not trying to be butts. Does 2020, 21 look a little better? It might so. There's a lot of things that's passed that through legislature that's gonna help the county, especially like with 911, stuff like that. That's gonna take effect October 1st. With the cell phone, from 60 cents, it's going up to $1.30 on that. And of course, the AWIN stuff, that they're gonna be taking care of a lot of that. Be a lot of money there. But, until some of these things happen, we just really have to watch the budget real close.
Another point of interest while you're talking about that, we will probably face another staff reduction at the end of this year. That's the way life is being to us right now, and we deal with it fine. But looking at where we're headed in county general, if we see that we're gonna have to make cuts, we need to start looking at that now and not kick that can too far. Because the cut you make may have a mountain of comp time or vacation time or whatever accrued, and it may take a while to see the results of that cut.
Yeah, but too, you need to give people time to look for something else and not wait till the end of the year to tell them.
Right.
Let me ask a question. What was your carryover last year? I wasn't in here then. What was your carryover?
It was
Started
six
up-
hundred, the year prior, it was about 600,000, and that dipped down to about 300,000.
This past year was 300 that you carried over. Is that in this 826,000?
It is.
Well, one thing that we're gonna try to do, a lot of county clerk's office does passports. We're checking to see if we can do that. I don't know how much it'll bring in. Won't bring in enough to help with this, but that'll be a little extra that we can bring in.
Well, we also have, elections, you know, that we gotta be thinking about as well. Of course, there's some things there, and I know you've discussed some of it about, closing down some of the precincts or combining some of the precincts, you know, when you got precincts that's 3 miles apart, that's kind of, in my opinion, kind of a waste, you know, of money. But,
Yeah, there are several ways that we can save some money, on the elections and.
At the rate we're going at right now, we're not gonna make it to the end of the year. So,
If it means anything, I had the same concern this time last year, because do y'all remember when the SWAT team was brought to before the court? And I remember I had looked at the trajectory of our county general, and it kind of got to this point, and it kind of started to, it didn't go down as fast and as furiously as it has. But we still had $800,000 to play with. We're down to a nail-biting amount.
What kind of tax revenue did we have come in last year?
I don't even remember.
I had a total revenue of 5,600,000 and something. I don't know specifically on the tax, just the taxes.
Yeah.
What did that consist of, that 5 million?
I had Misty send me the report just because I wanted
Right.
to understand it. Send me all the reports, and I just added cash receipts, void check, transfers in, and then tax in.
That 5.6 was everything.
Yeah, that was everything.
Carryover, that was taxes, that was fees, that was every in. That was even grants.
I remember the times we had to go at the end of the year and borrow money to make it through, and that wasn't pleasant.
Yeah, so far, at least since I've been on the court, we haven't had to do that, but,
We haven't had to do it in a long time.
Yeah.
I remember the days we did.
yeah.
Well,
I think it helped last year that we had when we knew we had a crunch, that we had kind of a set amount of people that we thought we were gonna have not with us the next year. And we kinda did we worked it well.
Mhm.
And, do we have an idea this year? Would it be about the same?
That's really difficult to pinpoint down right now, because not every position is equal. You know, you trim out of the assessor's office, you don't feel anything.
Yeah.
You trim out of the collector's office, you don't feel a thing. You trim out of my office, that's a whole nother fund. You know, like Gina this year, if we were to say, well, we don't want her anymore, so we just send her on her way. You haven't saved anything out of a county general, because she is 1/2 grant funded, which is payrolled out of county general and paid back to county general. And by code, they allow us to do her 1/2 roads, so we did that. So there are so many of those positions that are so convoluted that not every position is an impact to county general. So it's hard right now to just put a dollar to an individual. Or to a head count, is what I'm saying. Which I hate to even use that terminology,
Yeah.
because it devalues the employee, but,
But you get the basic idea of what,
yeah.
you know, on it. You know, of course, we just through the first quarter, so we will see what happens. I do know that when I met with Misty here a few weeks ago, the federal money hasn't come in yet. Did make contact with them, and they said it would take a while. Whenever the Fed shut down, it just takes a while to get things going back again, and that's a pretty good chunk. It's around 80,000 on that. Of course, that was affecting all the counties. I don't know if it's come in yet or not. I don't know. On that, one other thing we had tonight too is Gina wanted to bring some stuff before the budget committee.
Yeah. Could I sit? It's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I've developed shingles, and so, using my hand, but I'll sit over here. I want to talk to y'all. I understand the difficulties with county general. And so I'm a tad bit reluctant, but I'm a tad bit secure with my conviction over what I'm about to ask from y'all. And so my EMPG award is $21,911.20. And that EMPG is an emergency management performance grant. That is for my office to pay 50% of my salary and or some expenses through my office. We've always used it for salary, but as last year and the year before, my salary didn't fulfill that $21,000. Now granted, that would mean that I'd make close to $43,525,000. Is that fair amount for a salary for an OEM? Yes, it is. As I compared my salary to our neighboring salaries, they average $49,000 per year. And so, but I don't think that me making more than, I think some of our leadership roles, I think 43,000 is a bit much for my office. But I think what a fair number is 42,000. And the reason being is that I can still take that other $2,000 and relieve my credentialing system and or code red with those funds. When I say 42,000, just know that we will end up with $7,000 excess that we can take out of my budget on that 50%. Does that make sense?
Say it again.
Because I won't fulfill the entire $21,000, that's 50% of my salary. So, let me break it down a little bit for you. Okay, so my award is $21,911. That's for 50% of my salary. Currently,
That's what the current salary.
my current salary is $35,630.
Say it again.
$35,630, 20 cents. So the solution is if I increase my salary to $21,000 and I use that $21,000 out of the EMPG grant, that leaves $1,822.58 in expenses that I can relieve on my credentialing maintenance agreement and or code red. If we break down my current salary from when I started, there's a $2.81. Mind you, I've been with the county for 11 years. My increase throughout that 11 years amounts to $2.92 a week. When you really break it down, it's about 25 cents a year increase in salary. I've not ever asked for this. I think I'm more than deserving of it. If you look at my accolades, I can throw them out there. We've been declared as a federal declaration 7 times. We've been declared state declaration 18 times. Our county has incurred $5.7 million over the last 10 years in damages that we've been reimbursed for $1.96 million. We've conducted 33 exercises over that, full-scale exercises. Our planning, our response, our recovery measures are probably one of the best in our state. And it's not necessarily me, but we work very well as a team between our agencies within the county. You might look at the sustainability of the EMPG grant. Over the last 10 years, it's only changed $30. And so they will keep the Homeland Security Grant Program, this EMPG, more so we have a liaison between us and our state agencies and our federal agencies. And so if we look at some of my other accolades, I'm your 2010 Emergency Management Person of the Year on a state, regional, and federal level. I was awarded that as a hat trick. There's only 3 other people in the nation that's ever been awarded that. 2011, again, I was the Regional OEM of the Year. I also received an Outstanding Achievement Federal Award for the Female Youth Preparedness Council. 2013, I received a Outstanding Service Award from the Arkansas North Central Region of Emergency Managers. 2015, I received a Fire Service Coordinator of the Year. 2018, we were awarded the Federal and State Outstanding Achievement Recognition Award for our Youth Council, hence our CERT classes in Clinton High School. And this year we've been awarded our Storm Ready County and the NFPA, National Flood Planning Association, Turnaround, Don't Drown program. And so I come with a lot of value. And I'm not asking for anything that is going to jeopardize County General's constraints. I've talked to Dale about this, and we were very forthcoming, and it's really up to y'all whether or not this takes place.
So what you're asking, you have a $35,000 paycheck now,
Yes, sir.
and you're asking for 21 more? Is it, you want to?
41 more.
41 more?
Mm-hmm. And then the other expenses we can pull from to complete the grant, so we don't turn it back, can come from.
So your yearly salary will be 76,000?
Pardon?
Your yearly salary will be 76,000?
No, sir. 42,000.
Yeah, I think he
42,000.
misunderstood, I think we misunderstood it. She's going from 35,630 to 42,000. Is that
So
correct?
6,000, I mean,
That's
$7,000, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yes.
It's about $6,369.80
And that's
difference.
not coming out of county general?
No, sir. Never has.
So you get the, just so I understand, you get the grant,
Mm-hmm.
and what you're saying is that basically you could take the raise from the grant
Mhm.
and then re-look at the expenses that you use the grant on, kind
That-
of reorganize that? Is
No,
that-
ma'am,
okay.
what'll take place is that the increase of that to 17,000 to the 21,000,
Okay, so
that's that 50%.
okay, so
So
it
we're
went
really
up
looking
to
at
20.
35,000 to 42,000. The grant, there's still money beyond that wage increase that we want to use versus turn it back.
Okay.
So there's about $2,000 in there that I can relieve my budget of some type of large expenditure.
So your goal is to use the entire 21,000 without having to send anything back, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Last year, we used it with Code Red, I believe. However, it's kind of a gray area. Code Red really falls under 911, and I can't use my expenses for 911. So,
Well,
there's
I'm
not in
still
our,
not understanding how you get paid here. So 50% of it, out of the EMPG grant, you get 50% of that pays for your salary.
yes,
Where does the other 50% come from?
road department,
The whole 50%, or is that split between county general and road?
road department.
Oh, okay, okay.
So nothing, so this would not affect county general at all?
Nope.
So the part that comes out of county general, the grant pays for 100% of that now? Or does it pay for half of what comes out of county general?
Don't quite,
This is the first year that we did the half and half with roads.
Right.
Yes.
Because it was just available for us to do that.
normally, you're
So
right,
yes,
county
normally it
general
was,
paying
it
us
paid
the
for
other
half of
100%.
what
yes.
county general was being charged. Now, it pays for all of county general's part, and then the other half is roads.
It pays for all of the half
Yes.
county general.
Wow.
Bring it on.
There's that.
There it is.
Excuse.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right, just so I make sure I understand this. If something happens and you lose that grant, we don't have the money to pay your 50% of the salary in county general.
Then reduce it.
It would be reduced considerably.
Reduce it to what the grant is.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and throw out what I discussed with Gina.
Okay.
I better get a drink of water.
If we do this, put her on salary. She is an emergency personnel. She is an always on the clock person.
Yes.
It just, the comp time and all that is just a non-issue. We just make her salary and call it done.
That'd make more sense.
That means you work 80 hours a week instead of 40. What's she?
No, well-
I've never seen her that quiet.
At times, yes, that would mean
At
that,
times, yes, it would. Yeah.
you know?
Oh.
And I mean, I work it anyhow. It's not like, you know, we have,
Well, you're
avoided long hours.
you're basically
like
on
folks in my
call
office.
24/7.
Yes, sir.
Now, something we need to look at, and of course, I guess I'll be the devil's advocate.
Go for it.
Is if this is something that we're looking at doing, everybody knows, everybody else is gonna be coming to the table.
Oh, absolutely.
Let them find a grant to pay their wages.
I understand that, but I mean, we're just.
Do you know
especially
over the
with library and
last 10
stuff going
years
on
that
and all
my
this,
Yeah, our office has brought in $350,000 worth of grants through
I
Homeland
understand
Security.
that. But like with
And-
the library, like we just had, I mean, that's a grant, okay? But I'm just saying, we need to think about this, and I don't even wanna bring the library up, but I have to, okay? I mean, we need to think about the whole package here.
Well, nobody else is getting a raise this year.
Well, you'll have to be prepared, because if we have to get rid of employees and give her a raise, y'all better be prepared.
Well, let them find grants, y'all. There's grants out there to support their offices. My office has gone through time and time again finding money for our agencies.
That's true, but to
And
get
so-
everybody to understand that,
But that's what it is. If you can't figure out how to get money to support your office, well, then maybe you need to be looking for another job.
I have a question.
And I mean, this is the way I feel about it.
With this grant, are you gonna be getting that same grant every year?
Yes, for the last
Okay.
10 years, it's only changed $30, and that was on an increase.
Okay.
We got a $30 increase on it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So, I mean, it is, the other grants, when it comes to Homeland Security, they have not been available as they were, but what they've done is they have changed over the routing of those grants. The EMPG is strictly emergency management performance grants. And so the other Homeland Security's grants, they have been focused on SRT teams, SWAT teams, special response when it comes to terrorism and WMDs. And so we had a lot of money coming into the office, but this has never changed. We lost, we got, we lost, we got on other grants. But the EMPG grant has never changed.
How many other departments get grants? Like, do a lot of the other departments get grants?
sheriff's office, road department, get grants?
Yeah, we get a lot of grants.
But no, the sheriff's office, they don't get grants for salaries.
No. No,
They get
at one
grants for
time it
equipment.
was for the,
I don't know any of them that get grants for salaries.
yeah, we got a grant for salaries at one time.
Well, domestic violence.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
domestic
Yeah,
violence,
yeah.
but then that ran out and we
Yeah,
ended
they
up
did.
having to
Right.
cover it.
I get what I totally get what you're saying. You know, and, you know, same when when the treasurer thing came up, I had so many people come to me, you know, I've been here and I haven't got a grant, you know, I mean, they're upset that they haven't got raises, and I understand. I mean, I do. I'm worried about this budget. I mean, you know, but you work hard. I know, you know, I'm not gonna say that people don't deserve raises. I'm worried about being able to pay, I mean, you know, but I get what you're saying, so
When does your grant process start?
It's already started. Yeah, we're into the quarter.
So it's a standard year, just like the county government.
Yes, sir.
Those reports that I do, can I not add anything else besides your salary on there?
You can put rent and utilities, but you'll have to break down my square footage of the buildings, multiply it times .09, and then you have to divide up the hours to find the rent and the utilities on that space. If you want to go through the bills, it'd probably take you more time to go through the bill to figure out what that figure is paying. Or we can use it for the credential system.
We need to put on there
For the
everything.
accountability. But I mean, we used the excess prior with Code Red. But Code Red's really not in my office, so the next largest expenditure that I have is the accountability maintenance agreement, which is $2,700 a year.
Well, and I'm thinking, and I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there, is to, I wouldn't say save face or anything else, but is it something that we could look at? Well, that's not the answer she's looking for, but at the budget cycle, so that, I guess I could say transparent or whatever, but it bothers me to throw a raise out there in the middle of the year and then with all this other stuff going on. Of course, I understand it's paid for with a grant. They don't. General public don't.
Well, you know, we didn't realize, and I mean, really coming forward, we just signed the papers on the grant. And so, I don't necessarily think that it's necessarily wage increase as much as it is applying the grant to the OEM office.
Oh, it'd be a wage increase, it'd be something we'd have to vote on in court.
It would still look to the public like a wage increase.
No, I mean, it would be a wage increase, however you wanna look at it, but, and am I against the wage increase? No, I'm not. It doesn't cost me anything, and I'm all for people, if they can get the money, you know, paid for it, just like whether it be a SRO or whatever, if it didn't come out of county general. If they feel that they deserve it. My deal is, in the middle of the year, or first part of the year, we throw it out there, you know, they're gonna hang us. That's the way I look at it. I mean, and I think it's easier to do, not that I'm against it. I think it's something easier to do at the budget cycle where this is the grant, this is how much it's gonna pay, you slide it in there.
Well, that's not fair because those papers, the grant papers, don't ever come in on the budget cycle.
Yeah.
None of our stuff comes in on the budget cycle.
Well, we could.
Nothing
I mean,
coordinates with y'all's budget cycle.
We
I'm
could do
sorry.
an ordinance to put the grant money into her salary line item, and then state in the ordinance that, if this grant is no longer, then the salary will go back down.
Salary correlates with the amount of the grant award. It's not very difficult.
Hmm.
But are you saying that at budget time, or are you saying that now?
Now. Cause I mean, any grant money that we get, we have to do an ordinance and appropriate it all through the year.
Yeah, I mean, this would have to
whenever-
be an ordinance as well,
Yeah.
even at that.
We could put enough information in the ordinance to explain it, to make it clear to the public, or clearer.
That the grant money comes at an odd time.
Mhm.
That the grant money comes at a time not in budget time.
Well, just that it's grant money that's
Mhm.
paying for this. And when the grant money runs out, that the salary will be
Readjusted.
lowered to the previous amount, or,
You know, I'm gun shy from the library thing. I mean, yeah, they had out the torches. I mean,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
man, I got the torches. I mean, and
Well,
that was a
and-
reduction. I mean, that is gonna become again, and it's a reduction. So you know, but I get, if it was at budget time, I'm with Brian on that. If this was at budget time, I get that it's paid for. I mean, and I get that that's paid. I mean, it's making people understand, you know, perception.
So perception, if that's really what we're concerned about.
Not perception, but
I
perception
mean,
of what
really,
is fair.
we're
What
talking about
is-
somebody's salary, we're talking about
No.
perception and you want to.
No, but here's the deal. I had multiple employees come to me and they were very convicted about exactly where you're coming from. Exactly. The perception of what that library, and I support the library, and that, I don't think
Sure.
that was presented fairly, to be honest. But I had a lot of people, and I feel like they're in your same boat, but I get that you're working for that grant, and so don't think I don't appreciate, I appreciate that you're
Well,
finding
the
enough. But they haven't got a raise, this particular one, in 7 years, and they are furious. I mean, you know, she was furious, and I understand, I mean, but that's what I'm talking about, is her perception of when she saw that ordinance for the library, that she was getting a raise, and she had been working there for 8 years.
If we
you know.
wanna go tit
Yeah,
for tat with people not getting raises, you look at my salary adjustments and you can look at Taylor Fisher. Taylor Fisher got a raise a couple years ago. Craig Klug got a raise a couple years ago. I see Randy Ward come in making more money than I do, and I've got 12 years in and I'm still an appointment. I've got a judge's assistant that makes a little bit more money than I do. So I mean,
No,
what is the
yeah.
appearance, and we want to talk about perception here, but what is right and what is wrong? What's right is that me and my office are deserving of this. What's wrong is that we cower down to perception when there's black and white what's right and wrong. And if the library can't see that they should have made arrangements for sustainability of their wages, I'm sorry, but that's just poor leadership. After all that, there was no measures to sustain their expenses down at the library. They didn't think about it. there was no planning for it. There's planning for this. This is long-term, and so that's just the way, maybe I just better zip it.
No, I.
But I'm not
no,
gonna beg, I just want you to know, I'm not gonna beg, but by God, I and my office are deserving of these funds, of this increase.
Maybe
And
if there
so,
was.
if you could consider it, I would be very grateful, but
Maybe if there's a publicity of announcing the grant
That would help.
in the paper, you know. The grant is given, well, the grants may have been given for the last 10 years, but we've got a grant this year,
sure.
you know?
Well, I think
And that could be
how it's
easily
presented
done.
is super important. I mean, you
Sure.
know, yeah, I mean, it just is. I mean, yeah, so that's a good idea.
I have no problem making that happen because we're fixing to do a couple more presentations with the storm ready and our turnaround on ground stuff in the paper, so.
Well, I think this is something we need to, think about a little bit, maybe talk a little bit more about. I don't think we need to make a decision right this moment, myself,
Why?
because I ain't ready to. That's why.
Okay.
Because I'm not for it right now. I'm not. And do I think you deserve it? Yeah, I think that the office deserve it. Do I think right now's the time? Why wasn't this brought to us at the first of the year? You know, I just don't think in the middle of the year when we're going through a down budget, you know, like we are, I don't think we need to be throwing out raises. I don't, even though it's paid for with a grant. Then we're gonna be just like the library or somewhere else, mismanaging money. That's where I'm at on it. Am I against it? No, I'm not. I'm not against it. Am I against it right now? Yeah, I am. Because I can promise you, we do this right now, we're all gonna get crucified. I can promise you.
So if you don't get this raise increase, do we not get that part of the grant money?
We'll probably end up turning back some money.
And we can't use it anywhere else? Not your equipment, not anything in your
Well, I'm
office?
not really buying really much equipment because we've cut my budget down so much. I mean, my expenditures,
But if
are
it's grant
minimized.
money, it wouldn't be
That's
coming
why-
out of your budget anyway. It'd be using that grant money for
it's
something.
reimbursement though,
So we have to spend it to get it.
yes. And Brian, the time frame coming to you now, Dale just signed the award papers. And I mean, I talked to you the day that he signed them to find out when we could discuss this with the budget committee. So this is not something
Yeah, that was just a
that,
few weeks ago. I mean, I understand that.
yeah,
We can, yeah, it can be turned back.
Yeah,
I think
and
we-
don't, I mean, and don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, you know, the office isn't worthy of the money. I'm not saying that, okay, in any way. As you know, I very well know what goes on there.
sure.
All right,
I know you're very supportive of our office.
but
I mean,
I
don't
also
get me
know
wrong.
where we're at on this, and we bring up the library of what we went through on that, and the phone calls that we received on that. I know my family received a bunch of them, because that was put out publicly, you know, in the paper and everything else before it ever come to tuition before the court. And, that was not cool, especially whenever, because this is all public record, and you can look at this, and we come down the road in a couple of months and we're broke, we have no money. You know, is things gonna turn around? I hope, you know, but there's nothing that's showing me it is right now.
When's the latest you can do this?
You can do it whenever you want to.
Because the grant's there, right? So it's there, so we can.
We're still getting Pam's still turning in quarterly.
The amounts wouldn't be turned back until the end of the year.
Yeah, Correct.
Okay, what I would suggest right now is not to do anything with this right now. Let's just wait a month or so and see what happens with our budget, with the monies that we have coming in. I think you're totally deserving of it. Right now is bad timing.
Well, we need to put the advertising out or whatever.
That advertising
Yeah.
needs to go out saying, hey, we got $21,000 from my office,
Or
however you want to word it, so we can use it, the grant money for me, and that'll set the stage right there. Say, well, she's got the grant money, let's put it in
And
her.
you know, I know you know how to word that stuff to
Yeah.
you know, come out. like-
Because we're dealing with Misty. She's supposed to have another person in her office. We ain't got the money to hire anybody for her.
And that was part of this meeting tonight on the budget part, is we were supposed to talk about putting a part-time person in there. Here's my problem with that. You know, when we was talking about a full-time person, with the budget, the way it's looking, I'd hate to put a person in there and at the end of the year, you're gonna have to lay them off.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when I mentioned part-time, what I really meant was there a department with a full-time person that had extra time? That would, a revenue neutral, I mean, you know, no extra, not hiring. I've had several people come to me about the part-time position. That's not really what I meant. I meant, is there a department, there's probably not, but is there, you know, that person could help her out, and we wouldn't spend a dime, because, and then this. I
Let me
mean,
throw another little monkey wrench in there.
Of course.
Of course, of course. Had to visit with the auditors this week because they are going, they're being very thorough this time.
Very,
They're
very.
saying now they don't like the splits unless it is specifically notated in code. Like the county judge, it specifically notates that I can be 50-50 or 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 with solid waste. It specifically notates Gina now. There are very, very few that it specifically notates. So if any county general work is done at all, they're wanting them completely payrolled out of county general. So that is like taking one of the office staff out of my office and payrolling them out of county general now. So, you know, when we do this, the 50-50,
yeah.
they'd still be payrolled out of county general. They would, yeah.
So will someone from your office have? Is that-
I don't know
Okay.
yet. We're gonna
Okay.
have to wait and see, and sometimes we just have to do what we have to do regardless of an auditor's opinion.
Yeah.
And if it's not a reportable finding, if it's just a note, just accept it and move on.
And my understanding is that this is the most thorough audit that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Seems to be. Very much
They're the
so.
ones who know that. I don't know.
How do you get some new auditors?
Yes.
Well, no, just one.
One.
Yeah.
Guys, do we have anything
You
else?
know that if you set, every office has a COOP plan, continuity of operations. And in the treasurer's COOP plan, there is, I think, an amendment in there that she can use, their employees are grouped together, I believe. That if she's short, in the event of emergency, she can pull from the assessor's office or the collector's office. Why don't we implement something like that then through having one of the employees in the assessor's office, if she's got to leave or whatever it may be, that she can't fill that position? It's the same thing as their COOP plan. In the event of emergency.
I like an idea like that. I think that's a possibility. I mean, I don't know if there's the staff, I mean, I'm not trying to make, but
And it's
Yeah,
all
but
county
the
general.
trouble you get into, they don't know her job. They don't know anything about her job. They could answer the phone, but they can't do her job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they could really do is answer the phone being part-time, because they really wouldn't be in there enough to learn anything.
No, that's the sad thing.
Yeah, as
All of
far as
these-
answering
all of
the
these
phone.
positions
Yeah.
were very intricate.
They
Answer
are.
it from my desk.
Yeah, unless you cross-train, there's no way to,
Yeah, and you couldn't cross-train
You can't
from another
cross-train from
office.
another
It
office.
Why?
It wouldn't be possible.
Well,
Why?
you could,
you
but
could
it would
if
take,
they had enough time to
if they had enough time to train.
If they were in there.
Yeah, if they were in there enough to train, but if they've got another job, they're working on another office, how much time are they gonna be able to let them go to come over
That's
here
right.
and sit and look at her computer and try to figure out what the heck is,
And you're continuously learning.
well,
I mean, you never get it
It
all
will-
figured out.
it would take years
Yeah.
to figure out how to do a cross-train in
Well, that
that
was the
thing.
thing with Delana, talked to her today, and because they had brought it up to her about that, of course, she don't know when she'd train, that's the problem, because she's there 4 days a week, and the way they've changed it around, she has tons to do, and so she don't have time, she'd have 1 day a week, you know, to be able to work it, and that just wouldn't work out.
There's no way she could learn it in 1 day.
They're gonna have to be in there the biggest part of the time to be able to grasp what's going on.
So Misty's answer is no?
Well, look at me,
I don't see any way we can do it.
I mean, unless somebody else has an idea, you know, I just don't see where we're gonna come up with the money to pay even a part-time.
Yeah, the money's coming out of county general. It's,
Yeah.
she didn't have it.
Right. I want to say something. I appreciate how consistent you guys are being. Whether or not someone may agree or disagree with an opinion here or there, you guys are being completely consistent, and
We've not always had that.
that's I appreciate it.
It's not always good.
No, and it takes nothing away from you, Gina.
Well, yeah, it does. It takes a pay raise away from me.
I understand that. I
It
understand
takes
that
a
part.
wage
You
increase away
said it
from me.
wasn't
I know.
a raise.
Especially since
It's not a raise. It's not a raise.
It's not a raise. It's a competitive
It's
award salary.
reshuffling of the grant.
No, it's not reshuffling. It's going straight to my salary, what it's supposed to be for. Emergency performance grants are all based on, if you want me to give you a little
Performance.
document, yeah, and I meet more than the requirements.
Okay, then you need to make sure you use some of that language in this little blurb you're gonna put out
Yeah.
about it, your grant
So
awarding.
once I get a blurb out there, we're gonna come back and visit, y'all gonna give me my increase?
We're gonna come back and visit.
We're gonna come back and visit, that's for sure.
You may be a wee bit closer.
Yes.
A wee bit closer.
Work for it,
It would,
girl.
it would
They're
be,
not-
I've already worked for it.
yeah, you have.
Ma'am, just think, you got, God bless us if nothing happens, but I just want you to know, if something does happen, I'll still be here for you.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
Which-
this, let me tell you something.
Just
This-
so you know,
Let me tell you
I'm
something.
still gonna be
This is
there,
Van
and I
Buren,
do
this is
know his
Van
home
Buren
telephone
County,
number.
and everybody will be there.
Yeah.
That's Van Buren County for you.
Yeah, that's
When
right.
something bad happens, we all pull together. It don't make,
it doesn't matter
don't
what.
make a crap who you are, or where you're
All right,
from.
Gina,
We
let's-
all pull
I
together and
get
handle
that,
business.
Brian,
Let's,
but you know what, that's on the response side.
Yes,
What's
I-
really important to our county and our infrastructure and our reimbursements is the recovery side.
I agree.
And that's what I am
Yeah.
most skilled at, is
Okay.
making sure that we get the reimbursement and the money's back.
I agree.
put together a good little promo for the paper. And let's come back and talk.
Well, when y'all gonna meet again?
I don't know, we gotta just
Don't
sit.
say raise in it.
No, don't say
anywhere.
anything about a raise.
Yeah.
Gina, I'd like to say you are the best at your job. You're invaluable.
Thank you.
And I would love to say, yes, do it, but we're facing some difficult times. And I'm praying that you can come back and it will happen. But right now, as much as you deserve it, it's not a good time. I'm sorry.
You need to get the public on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get the public.
And I think every one of us right up here, and they're looking for the best in this. But,
And you have to understand, we have difficult decisions that we have to make. This is a difficult decision, not taken lightly. And at the right time, I think we can make this happen.
Fair enough?
And when we're gonna meet, we don't know yet, we'll have to decide
Yeah.
that, because
But
Yeah,
I
we'll
can
look-
promise you this, we won't forget it.
We will
No,
not forget
Fair
it.
enough.
We will not forget it.
No,
We'll give you an answer.
yeah.
One way or another.
That didn't seem very positive, Esther. I'm just saying,
Hopefully-
but I really appreciate
Hopefully
the
positive.
kind words.
Get
Hopefully
your
positive.
name out
You're
there.
You,
He's positive you're not getting
Do you,
your
do you wanna look at,
Thank you.
Get all
And I haven't
kinds
done you
of
all times, I've
signs.
always been very impressed with you, so.
Thank you very much. Oh, you are. I'm gonna shake it anyhow just because I know that you're my friend. Thank you, thank you.
Yep.
Dale, thank you very much.
Yep.
I appreciate you.
thanks, Gina.
All right, guys, as far as the budget, that is pretty much all happening. We do need to make a decision, but we did tell them we'd talk about it and see which way we wanna go,
And
for the court.
it's unfortunate, it's just
You know.
bad timing.
Do we need to take a, well, I guess we just need to talk about it, a vote come at court, but.
Here's what I've always liked about how well good committees would work. Sometimes we wouldn't have good committee meetings, they'd be bad. But you're discussing a particular individual, and a specific individual and a specific, anyhow, it's a very specific job. I think you guys should go into executive session. All of us should leave. And no matter what you decide, when you guys leave here, you all are unified. That's just my opinion.
Well, I guess that's what we need to do.
Let's do it.
Let's go into executive session and
You gotta have a motion.
I move we go into executive,
A second.
whatever it
And
is.
you have to take a
vote.
vote.
Do I have to record it?
It's being recorded, all in
Okay,
favor.
we'll take a verbal vote,
Mm-hmm.
Esther, on going to executive session.
You gonna roll call it?
Yeah,
You can
roll
voice
call.
or roll call, either one.
Just do voice call.
Yeah, just voice.
are you asking me?
Yeah,
Yes,
just yes or no.
yes.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
yes, yes.
It was unanimous. Now, the recording can stop or pause.
All right, we're gonna call the meeting back to order. Do you need to do this by motion, I guess?
Yeah, whatever. Is there a vote that will be involved?
Yes.
Okay.
You
Yep.
just need to present it and then vote.
Make a motion of what you said.
I make a motion that we table the discussion until a little later in the year. And not that we're going with plans to go forward with it in both Gina's case and Misty's, but right now, it's just a really difficult time.
Okay.
I'll second.
First and seconded. Take a roll call vote.
Holt,
Yes.
Bass,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
M. Brown,
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Almost forgot you. Okay, and that is for Gina and Misty's.
Yes.
Yes.
Both of them.
Okay,
We're gonna revisit them.
okay,
We're gonna try to shuffle for both of them.
okay.
And that is all I have for the budget.
I move we adjourn.
Second.